Welcome back everyone to Technical Tuesday, and today's video is another swatch video. This one is on the blues in my collection, and as the previous two, we are going to start with the non-Maniology polishes that I have. And I'm going to start with Clear Jelly Stamper. This is a glow in the dark one that came in a glow in the dark collection. If you've already watched my Clear Jelly Stamper video, then you know what this looks like already, and you already saw me swatch it the first time. But this is a nice, pretty, soft, glow-in-the-dark blue. It's very sheer. It's also very gritty, thanks to the glow-in-the-dark pigments. Okay, so it's kind of hard to see over the white even, because it's so light of a color. It's very subtle. And it's kind of hard to see over the dark as well, but you can see it. You can see it better in person than you can on camera for some reason. I had this problem with the other ones as well. Okay, so this next one is from Born Pretty. Its name is Diana, and this is a very beautiful, deep royal blue. And this one shows up very well over black and white, even though it is a dark color, which makes it harder to see over dark colors. It does show up equally over both. Okay. So this one leans more in the green family than it does the blue, but it's from Born Pretty, called Light of Yours, and it is at least a duochrome polish. It does change color depending on the light. It shows up okay over white, shows up best over black, so dark colors would be the main thing you would want to use that with. And now for the last Born Pretty one I have. This is from a holographic collection that I have, and it says it's number 4. And it is a nice deeper holographic blue, though it is very sheer, so you can see through it. So you're going to want some kind of base color if you're using it as a full coverage, and probably would recommend using a dark color underneath it to bring out the hollow if you want the hollow to be more prominent, and a light color if you want the actual color itself to be more prominent. This one actually reminds me of Starfish, just not as well executed. This is also a very old standing polish and could very well have improved formula now compared to what it was back when I got it. Okay, so this next one is called Teardrop. We are going to go ahead and hit the Maniology polishes now. This is Teardrop B217, and this shows up very well over both colors, both black and white. So this is a very good full coverage polish. And this is definitely more in the teal range of the blue family. Okay, so this next one is North Pole, which is a very frosty, shimmery blue. And it shows up well over white. It changes and deepens in color over black, but it does show. Okay, so this next one is one of my newest favorite blues. This is Twinkle Toes. And this one came out recently and it's so gorgeous. It's like a cobalt blue metallic and it is absolutely gorgeous. It shows up well over black and white. As you can see, even at this distance, it's just shining gorgeously. Oh my goodness, I love this color. This is such a beautiful blue. Okay, so this next one is a jelly that was part of the Splash collection, the Rainbow Splash collection, which I believe has been discontinued. It is Ocean Depths, and it is very pretty. However, because it is a jelly, it doesn't really show up over black. You can see it, but very faintly. You primarily would want to use this over a light color. White being the best color to put it over. Yeah, you can't really, on camera you can barely even perceive that there's anything there over the black. So next is Cauldron. And this is another one of my favorite blues. This is a very deep, almost purpley blue, and it shows up well over black and white. As you can see from even this distance, it's just shining, and it is very pretty. Give her a refresher coat. Look at that shine, guys. That is beautiful. Okay, so this is an older one in my collection, and it is also a jelly. This was in the same bundle that had Ultraviolet, which was another jelly, but it was a purple. It was a very deep purple. See if I can actually find it quickly. And put it out and show it. Sorry, Violet Waves is what it's called, not Ultraviolet. Violet Waves. And this was the same way. And they came from the same collection, and I'm not sure why they made these jelly-like in that collection, because everything else was creams and opaque. But for some reason, those two were. And I don't have any problem with it. I do like both. I just don't know what their thought process was when they created them. And these were back when they were still Bundle Monster, and you know, they were still very new to all of this. So I don't know, but I do really like it. It does show up very well over white, of course, because it is a jelly formula. It does not show very well over black. In fact, you can, like the other one, I'm not even sure if you can see. Yeah, you can faintly, because it's more matte compared to the rest. You can faintly see it, the outline of it. But it's a very jelly polish, and it's beautiful by all means. But I don't know if you can even get it anymore, for one, and for two, I don't know if they were still experimenting with formulas, trying to figure out what worked best or what, but in that collection, those two just didn't make sense. Okay, so this next one is Indicon, and this is more of a grayish blue. Still, it leans more heavy into the blue family, but it has a gray kind of hue to it. It is definitely more wintry, soft, less harsh of a blue. Topaz, don't destroy my rug. I understand you're being frisky. Go get one of your Squishmallows. Go play with one of your Squishmallows. The kids gave you enough of them from their McDonald's. One of my cats is being frisky this morning. So this shows up very well over both black and white. Even at this distance, it pops. It has very good contrast against both. So this is a very good full coverage polish. And this is another one of my favorites. I love my metallics, if you can't tell. I love my metallics and my glittery and my sparkly and my special effects. My son takes after me deeply. So this shows up well over black and white, and it is called Double Bubble, and it is a nice bright metallic blue. It's not quite as bright as Twinkle Toes, but it is definitely bright. And it is close to a cobalt blue, and it is very pretty. Okay. Alright, so I know this one is still available, but don't mind my bottle saying BMC. This is one of the first collections they came out with. Back when they were still Bundle Monster. However, it is actually still available. This is part of the Grimm's Nightfall collection and is called Glass Slipper. And I am actually very fond of this one as well. I remember using this one a lot when I only had a few. I think I had 3 different collections for max, and it was like 6 polishes each from them back when they were Bundle Monster. And then I had a couple of small bottles that came from a stamping plate polish kit, and they still sell kits like that. But that was the extent of what I had from them. Maybe it was 5. I had a few collections, but I didn't have many. Not like what I have now. But I think I went for pretty much all the different collections they had at that time. They didn't have many. But this one is still available. It's from the Grimm's Nightfall collection, and it is called Glass Slipper. And it shows up very well over both. Like I said, I used this one a lot back when I didn't have very many stamping polishes, and I just had a few, like a handful of collections from them. And that was pretty much the only stamping polishes I had. Because when I first started stamping, I had just a black and a white, and I think it was from Maniology, the black and the white that I did have. And it was a long time before I got like the Born Pretty ones, and though those were the next ones I did get, was the Born Pretty, after getting a few collections from Maniology back when they were Bundle Monster. So, yeah, no, that's a very old one. So this next one is Cosmic Latte, and shows very well over both black and white. It's very bright, but also a deeper blue. It's kind of hard to explain it. It definitely shows up very well over both, and it is bright, but it's not super bright. And it is a very pretty color. That's my kind of blue. So is this next one. So this next one is Flotsam. And this is another one that's quite bright, also very good coverage, shows well over both white and black. And yeah, no, it's bright but not super bright, and it's a beautiful shade. It's like a non-metallic cobalt. Not cobalt. Cobalt. Oh, my nerd's showing. Okay. Now, out of these three that are very similar, this is probably my favorite. This is Surf Rider. And this is a little bit brighter than the other two that I just showed. And it also shows rather well over both black and white. The camera's making it look more pastel than what it is, sadly. Okay. Now this one leans kind of in the gray realm. This one's Harlequin. This one needs to be shook up. Okay. There we go. So this is a deeper, cooler blue, not nearly as bright as the others. It leans into the gray family for sure. And it is a very nice, deep gray blue. This is definitely one that I like for winter manis and softer colored, not nearly as bright and in your face designs. So this next one is actually a relatively new one because it came out February, and it is called Deep Space. And it came out in the February MXM box. So this is a relatively new one. And I really like this. It's a holographic, and it's a teal holographic, and it is absolutely gorgeous. Now it's not as bright over dark color, but it definitely shows. You can see it over black. It does show, but it just doesn't show as brightly because it's already a very dark color. Okay, so this next one's another one of my favorites, and it's been around for a while. It is also a holographic. This is Starfish, and it shows beautifully over white, of course, and it shows relatively well over black as well. However, because it is so dark, it's much like the previous one. You have to have the light hit it just right for it to really show and shine. But it does show up, but you have to have it in a darker lighting setting. You would not be able to see it well, because it doesn't have the ability to reflect the light off of the holographic pigments to help make it really show up, because it is dark against dark. But it is a very beautiful blue holographic stamping polish, and it is done rather well. It has a very nice formula. Far more opaque than the Born Pretty one. Okay, so this next one, I'm not sure if it's still available or not. It was during the Bundle Monster Days. And this is probably one of my many discontinued colors. This is called Wavelengths. And it's a nice, pretty, deep metallic blue. And it shows very well over white, and it actually stamps just as well over black. It's just because it's so dark of a color, it's a little bit harder to see. But it does stamp just as well over both. Okay. So this next one is Dusk, and it is a soft teal color. It's almost like a teal with a little bit of gray. And this stamps equally as well over both black and white. It's just dark enough that it's kind of hard to see without certain lighting. But it does stamp well over both. Okay. Now this next one definitely leans heavy into the gray family, but is still blue, and it is called Awaken. I probably could get away with adding this to my grays instead of my blues, because it definitely leans very heavily to the gray. Am I gonna have enough paper towel space? Maybe. Maybe. Okay, so this one's also a relatively new one. I say that relatively new, even though now I think about it, it's actually coming up close to a year old. Oh my goodness. So it's less than a year old. This summer it will be a year old. Now that I think about it, it still feels new to me. Granted, I blocked out almost 6 months of last year because of trauma from losing a nail. And things were kind of crazy during that time. Anyways, I had back-to-back surgeries with the kids, and over the summer, it was a bad time. It was a bad time. But both kids are doing better for those surgeries, thankfully. In fact, one is finally no longer chronically ill, and the other has had some problems. He had tubes put in his ears, and he lost one recently due to an infection that was exceptionally bad. But he's had significantly less infections than what he would have, considering how much he had taken after his brother, and genetically had the same kind of medical issues as his older brother. He was retaining fluid for months at a time in his ears and was showing signs of having chronic ear infections. And with him not being completely verbal yet, he very much so has trouble telling us when he has problems with his ears or is ill in any way. So we had tubes put in, and thankfully we did, because he's had 2 ear infections since then, but he's not retaining fluid anymore. And this last one did cause one of his tubes to come out, sadly. But yeah, no, it was just a bad time. It was a bad time. There's too much craziness going on. Whoa, Peach. Topaz, come on now. Boys. Peaches. One's frisky and the other one's mad because of it. Okay, so this is Kraken, and it came in their Deep Sea MXM box, and it is a very deep blue, but it is beautiful. I wouldn't say this is a navy blue. I I'm trying to think of a good description for this one. But it is, I mean, navy blue is close to what we're looking at here. It's a little deeper than that in color, but like it is beautiful. It stamps just as well over the black as it does the white. But the problem is that it is so dark that it's almost like just looking at an outline, a very subtle outline. It's a very dark blue. Okay, so this one here is almost 2 years old. This came out not last summer, but the summer before in, I guess they called it Deep Space. It had all sorts of funny and cutesy space images with like stars that were surrounding a slice of pizza and space cats, and maybe it was called Space Cats, I don't remember, and like Fallout looking Nuka-Cola girls, that is what it looked like, astronauts. Like it was a crazy box, but I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And this is Cosmos, and it came in it, and it's a very beautiful, deep, shimmery navy blue. And it does stamp equally over both black and white, but like the previous one, Kraken, it's hard to see over black because it's dark against dark. Okay, so this next one is before I discovered Maniology, but it was like, I believe their first space themed or astrology or whatever you want to call it themed box. Celestial is even considered a fan favorite on the site, I believe. And it is a very beautiful navy blue shimmer polish. It's basically Cosmos with holographic glitters added to it. So it's not necessarily a holographic polish. It has chunky holographic glitters. It has bigger holographic glitters in it, not holographic pigment. It has literal glitters, not pigment. And it is beautiful. It is like a galaxy in a bottle by itself. And one of the 2 plates that this is from is still available. I'm guessing it was just the least popular one out of the 2, but it is still available. You can see it okay over black, but because it is so dark, it is hard to see against the black, but it does stamp equally well over both. Okay, so this next one is similar, but not quite the same. This is Occult. It also has holographic glitters in it, but not quite as chunky of holographic glitters. It's a finer holographic glitter, but it's not a holographic polish like Starfish. It is a metallic blue with holographic glitters in it. Smaller, fine, not micro or ultra fine, but a fine holographic glitters. And it is a little bit softer, but this is a very beautiful blue as well and shows great over black and white. Okay, and this is another one like the previous 2, though a little bit more jelly-like, and this is Peacock, and it is a teal jelly with chunky holographic glitters. Now, it shows okay over black because of its holographic glitters, but the actual base does not because it is a jelly base, and it shows up fantastic over white because it's jelly. But as a generality, this is a very gorgeous polish. Peacock is definitely one of my more favorite. I just haven't found manis that I want to use it on. This is the problem I tend to run into a lot. I find these gorgeous polishes that I love so much, but the designs that I tend to create don't want that kind of color. Funny how that works. Okay, so this next one is Flicker. And this is definitely more heavy on the holographic pigment. Well, glitters, it's not even pigment. And it's like sand. It is very gritty in feel. And this came out not last year, but the year before in the Halloween box. It came out in the same box as High Voltage, if memory serves me right. I could be wrong. It came out around that time at the very least, but I could have swore this came out with High Voltage. Maybe it was in a different box right around that same time, or released. No, because Peacock was released around that same, and so was Occult. Occult was part of the countdown calendar. Peacock was released that fall, and Flicker was, yeah, I'm almost 100% certain that Flicker was in that box. But it shows up great over white, as to be expected, and doesn't show up too terribly bad over black. Most of what shows up over the black is the holographic pigments, but because there's so much of it, you can actually see the lines better than, say, in Peacock, where it's more of a scattered, chunkier holographic pigment. So this next one is Prana. This came out like 3 years ago. 2 to 3 years ago. I'm thinking 3, to be honest. And it is a very nice teal. It's a bright teal metallic that shows wonderfully over both black and white. It is equal on both. It does not change one bit, and it's gorgeous. It is a gorgeous metallic teal. Okay. Alright, now this one leans into the green family a little bit more than the blue. So I probably should have put it in the green, but this is Delphinium. And it is a very nice, soft blue-green color. It's blue and green. Almost borderline sage. It's got just enough blue to keep it from looking like a sage color. Okay, this is an old one. This next one is an old one. This is Summer Cruise. And it's a brighter teal. And it is also from their Bundle Monster days. And it shows up great over both white and black. I'll be honest, these collections I've got from when they were Bundle Monster is what helped keep me stamping and what made me fall in love with them altogether, because they stamp so well. And I tried using regular polishes when I first started stamping, which was, I should have never done that. It almost made me quit. I should have never done that because it's so much harder to work with. And I just didn't have very much money, and I had plenty of regular polishes, and I thought, well, I've got all these pretty regular polishes, I'll just stamp with these because it works. But the problem is that I was too inexperienced, and I could not get it to work back then because of inexperience, and it is harder to do. And I also had lower quality plates at that time too, which did not help. I just stacked all of the odds against myself when I did that. And that is why I tell people when they're first starting out, do not try to stamp with regular polish, because there's so many things that can go wrong with it. It's so much more difficult. Yes, it can be done, but there's so many things that you have to learn before you do that. Because it is very discouraging, and there's so many things that can go wrong. And it just makes it a lot harder on yourself for no reason whatsoever. So this next one is Sequins, and it is a beautiful metallic teal, like full-blown chunky metallic pigment, and it just shines so nicely over both black and white. Just catches all the light and is super reflective. Absolutely gorgeous. So this next one I really love as well, and came out in one of my favorite boxes after I became a subscriber. It was one of the first boxes I got really excited for and felt like it was just tailored for me. And it was the Mythical Creatures box. And it was the third MXM box I had ever gotten after subscribing. And this is a gorgeous teal with a pink shimmer. So this is absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And shows up well over both, though it does change a little bit over black. And I'm going to zoom in so we can see this gorgeous shimmer. Like, no joke, guys. This shimmer, if I can get it to show, there it goes. There it goes. Look at that. Look at that shimmer. That is beautiful. Okay, so this next one is another one that has a lot of the chunky metallic. This is Chill Out. And so because it's a very pigmented, chunky metallic, it is bright. These ones with the chunkier metallic pigments are super bright, super shiny, and oh my goodness, they are so pretty. They are so pretty. Look at that shine, guys. Look at that sparkle. That is so pretty. And of course it shows up well over both, though it gets more of a silvery hue and less of the blue-green hue over black than it does over white. However, it is still really pretty and one of my more favored. Okay, so this next one is Droplet, and I've actually used it in a mani recently. But it's a really beautiful, soft baby blue with a pink shimmer. And it shows rather well over black and white, though it does change to a more pink hue over black than it does over the white. Those pink shimmers really stand out over the black. It is absolutely beautiful. Okay, so this next one, maybe this was the one that came out in that box and not Celestial. Celestial came out in another astrology-based box. They do a lot of space-themed boxes, I've noticed. But this is Retrograde, and this is one of their special effects polishes. Is very sheer in color, like very, very sheer, guys. Very sheer. You can see directly through it. Excuse me. And it does show up over white, but it shows up more of the color that you see in the bottle, though. When you put it over a dark color, it changes completely. As you can see over black, it is a much deeper, it almost looks like Cosmos over black. So it is a very interesting polish for sure, but it's beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. I used it in a winter mani. I did white, and then I used it as a solid color over the white to let that light blue shine. And then I had stamped with Celestial snowflakes that was a French tip over top of that. It's quite beautiful. But this is definitely a more special effects polish, and it is very beautiful for sure, and very fun to work with. You can do all sorts of stuff with it. It is a definitely more versatile polish. Excuse me. So this next one is called Frosty Air, and this is definitely in the teal family, leaning a little bit more heavily towards the, it actually is more like a turquoise. I'll be honest with you, less of a teal and more of a turquoise. It leans more in the more towards turquoise, and it is quite a beautiful blue. And I don't think this one is available anymore. I think I got this one when they were about to discontinue it. Caught it on the last chance sale. So I think this is one of their discontinued, but it is quite a beautiful color for sure. And it shows up great over black and white. Okay, so we have another, and this leans more into the green family, but we have another from their BMC days. And this is Transland, and this was part of a pastel collection that I'd gotten. And this is definitely a more pastel-y color for sure. And like I said before, guys, I am so glad that I had bought these all those years ago, because if I had not, I don't think I would have kept going with stamping. I think I would have just had plates sitting in a binder that I never used, probably about 20 total, and I would have never bought another stamping polish or another stamping plate again. Because I didn't like stamping just black or white, and I didn't want to do reverse stamping all the time. Not all the designs I wanted were that way. There were times where I wanted the lines that I was stamping to be a different color than black or white. I wasn't able to do the things that I wanted to do, and I couldn't get it to work with regular polishes, and it was really discouraging until I started actually discovering stamping polishes and how much easier to work with they are. So this next one is Doll Dance, and it's a nice, lovely, soft baby blue. And it is very gorgeous, and it has a hint of a gray hue to it. Very, very small gray hue to it. Primarily when it's over black or other dark colors. Okay, so this next one is Glass, and this is a jelly polish. This is not from the Splash collection. This is from the stained glass MXM box from, I believe it was 3 years ago now, or almost 3 years ago. And it doesn't really show up well over black, but shows up well beautifully over white, as to be expected, because it is a jelly stamping polish. And it is a nice, gorgeous teal. The other one in that box was Shattered, and that was a nice, beautiful, shimmery, deep purple. Okay, so this is another one of my favorites, and this is a little lighter than a cobalt blue, but this is bubbly, and it is another one that has more, not as chunky, but definitely chunkier than the more fine. This is just a regular metallic, I guess. So you have the ultra fine metallic ones like Prana, where the metallic pigments in them are very fine and smooth, and then you have the slightly chunkier, which is your basic, like this one, and then you have the ultra chunky metallic, like, let's see if I find it here. I mean, Chill Out is definitely close to it. Chill Out's probably the closest, where it's even brighter. So it's just slightly chunkier and brighter, but it is definitely on the, in that realm. Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell from this angle. But this is definitely a full-blown metallic, and it is called Bubbly, and it is so pretty. It's a little lighter than Cobalt Blue, but it is very pretty. And it shows fantastic over black and white. It just shines, it shimmers, it glimmers. It is so pretty. Jeez, Topaz. You are extra frisky. You are extra frisky right now, buddy. Well, you are. You're being extra frisky. Do you feel good today? You feel good? Huh, old man? Come here. You sweet boy, baby. He's my sweet boy. Okay, so this next one is Blue Ribbon, and it's a very soft blue. A little bit brighter than Doll Dance or Droplet, but it's definitely a softer blue. And it shows up pretty well over both. Shows up well over black and white. Where are you at, Jingles? I just saw you. Okay, Topaz, what are you doing, buddy? You're gonna get a tuft of fur up your nose and end up having a sneezing fit, buddy. Appreciate it if you stopped huffing that area. Hi, Peachy. Peach. Hey, buddy. Give Mama some love. Thank you. My boy. Yes. It's a sweet boy. Okay, so this is Blue Ribbon, and it does show up very well over both black and white. It as clearly, because you can see it clear as day from this distance. I don't have to come up close to the camera at all. It is very pretty, and it is more like a sky blue. I think I'm going to run out of paper towel. I get this distinct feeling I'm going to run out of paper towel. Let's see if I can get this all shifted enough to fit the last few, maybe. I have a lot of blues. I have a lot of greens too, which is kind of funny because once upon a time that was the color I had almost nothing of, and I complained constantly about not having enough greens, or not because I didn't have the right greens for what I was trying to do. Constantly there was And it was always when I was working with stuff that had plants. Like, this is not the right shade of green for this tree. This is not the right shade of green for this grass. This is not the right shade of green for these leaves. That's what it always came down to. It's like, I just don't have the right green. And now I have a very large selection of green. And I feel like blue was probably another one that happened like that. Now my purples are lacking. That's my main one that I'm lacking in. And it's yellows and oranges I got a decent collection of, but same thing. My browns are finally at a good spot too, but this is my ring of green. Guys, it's pretty big. It's one of my biggest ones. So I have lots of greens now. And I do mean lots. So this is, the next one is Astronomical, and it is also from the Bundle Monster Days. Now, this one's not as opaque as some of their other formulas of colors. It does show up over black and white, but it doesn't show up fantastically. It shows up well enough, but especially over the black, you definitely can tell that it gets muted down. It does not show as well over the black as it does the white, but it doesn't stamp quite as well as the others did. It is a nice color though. This is a nice blue. This is definitely one I reached for more often than some of the others back in the day. Okay, so this next one I believe is about a year old now, and maybe 2. I think it's a year though. Time flies by so fast it's hard to keep track. But this leans into the gray family heavily, but is still definitely in blue, and it is called Cornflower. It can even get away with being in the purple family. It's kind of in all 3. It's funny when you get a color like this where like it can easily lean towards more than 2 colors. It has like a little bit of everything kind of thing. Like it has a hint of purple, it has a hint of blue, it has a hint of gray, and you're not really sure where to put it because, well, it's a bit of all 3. In some cases 4. So this is definitely a softer color, and like I just mentioned, it could easily lean towards the gray family, it could easily lean towards the purple family. Okay, so this next one, I think this one's also discontinued. I think I got this one when they had it on sale for discontinuing. This is Jazzercise, which I've fingered this dang stick so many times that the J's almost worn off. I may have to fix that. This is a brighter sky blue. Peach, why are you fussing, baby? Why are you fussing? What's the matter, baby? What's the matter, my baby? I know I love you too. I know I love you too. My sweet boy. Okay. So this is really bright over both black and white. It stamps very well. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure if that's even available anymore. I don't think it is. I think this one that I bought when they had it clearance down because they were discontinuing it. Okay, so this next one is Splash, and it's actually rather sheer for my liking, and it looks like Cosmos or even Cauldron over black, So it actually darkens significantly because it is sheer over, but it has heavy metallic over black, but it's very bright over white. So I feel like this is more of a special effects polish, especially with the sheerness of it. It kind of reminds me of retrograde, the way retrograde works. It's basically the same concept, just darker. And it is a very beautiful blue. This came in their, I did look it up, the Pool Party collection. I did look up the name of it. Unlike my last video where, was it the last one? Or the other half of this? No. One of my previous videos, the Pinks collection with Watermelon Float, where I did not know the name of the collection. So this is Splash, and it does show up very well over both. It's just much darker and deeper over black and much brighter over white. Okay, so this next one came out about a year ago. At least I think it was a year ago. I swore it was a more recent one. In the Alice in Wonderland MXM box. They definitely had fun with old school books for a year. They did a bunch of book stuff all in one year. Pretty much a full loop of a year. They did The Storyteller, which had Sonnet and Nightingale, and it had a whole bunch of different book stuff. And then not quite a year later, they brought out Winnie the Pooh and Alice in Wonderland. They did, now non-MXM but for this one, but they did Bambi, and I think they did one other. I could be wrong, but like they definitely did a lot of old school book stuff. And they just recently came out with the Cats, Coffee, and Books as well. They really went hard on those themes over the last like year and a half. So a lot harder than they had in the past. And I'm not complaining. I love them. I love all of them. They're some of my favorites. But like this came out during that time period. And it is a very nice, bright blue. It's a darker, almost sky blue. And I absolutely love it. It's beautiful. And it does show well over both black and white. But its name is Alice. And it was the only stamping polish in that box. The other polish was a regular polish. It was a flaky, and I know that they're both still available. And the red flaky that it came with is called Queen of Hearts, and it is this beautiful red jelly flaky polish, and it is absolutely stunning. I love these jelly flaky polishes and all the various colors. In fact, the very first one that I bought, I got from Polish Pickup, and I fell in love with it, and I needed more colors like it. And I will show you the very first flaky polish I ever got. This is from Nailed It, and I need to get more from this brand because they are notorious for jelly flaky polishes, and this polish is so freaking pretty. This is the color I used when I did my Mario set, and it is absolutely stunning. Look at those chunky, beautiful iridescent flakies. Oh my goodness. And that beautiful lavender purple base. That lavender jelly purple base. It is absolutely stunning. So, yes, I love my flaky polishes, guys. They are beautiful. I love them. So, yes, they are. I'm a huge fan of flaky polishes. Huge fan of them. All right, so our next one here is a nice darker sky blue, much like Alice, but not quite as dark. A little darker than Jazzercise. This is Blue Glue, and I know this one is still available. It's a part of the Schools Out collection, but you can buy it individually. And it is very bright, and it shows up very well over both black and white. All right, we've got two more. All right, so this next one is Waima, I believe is how it's pronounced. And this was part of Waikiki and Kailua. The trio from that is. I don't know if this is still available. I think so. But this is a beautiful, soft, purpley blue. Pretty much a periwinkle. I think periwinkle is probably the closest I could describe it to, with a pink shimmer. It's a very soft pink shimmer. Now the pink shows up heavily when it's over black. Not so much. It's very soft over white. But it's absolutely stunning. This is another, I love this blue. It's absolutely beautiful. And this last one is Mercury Baseline. Once again, this is a BMC, so I don't know if it's still available. But this was part of their pastel collection, and this leans both purple and blue. It looks more purple over black, and it looks more blue over white. It leans both. And has a slight tint of gray, but it's mostly in the blue and purple. This is definitely more of a periwinkle, to be honest. And that's all of them. That is all of my blues, guys. I have a lot of blues. Of course, the teals out of it can easily land either in the blue or green family. I have them in the blue family because, as you saw, my greens are pretty full up on the swatch stick ring. So some of the blue greens that probably lean a little heavier to the green than the blue are in the blues section. So that is how that worked out. I don't have any announcements, and I do believe, yeah, that pretty much covers everything, guys. So I had to double check myself there, make sure I didn't have any announcements of any kind. So I do believe that's all of it, and I hope you guys enjoyed that. That is all of the blues in my collection for stamping polishes currently. I can't say that it is going to stay that way because, you know, I do get every box that comes out. We have made sure that I budget in for, I buy it 6 months in advance. We budget in for the box every 6 months to make sure that I do not miss a single subscription box. And so my collection is still growing. So when this airs, I could very easily have gained a few more by then. So yeah, that is not outside the realm of possibility, but this is all that I have currently, and it's quite a lot of blues. I didn't realize how many I had until I started pulling them all out and running out of space very quickly. So yes, this is all of them, and I hope you all enjoyed this, and I hope it was helpful. Because quite a few of these are still available. Not all of them are, but I'd say at least 90% of these are still available on site. And as far as the clear jelly stamper one, that I know for a fact is still available. I just got that not that long ago. As for the Born Pretty ones, Amazon still has a lot of Born Pretty stamping polishes in collections in bulk and things like that. So those are most likely still available as well inside of a bundle on Amazon, or directly from them possibly as well. I'm not 100% sure about that, but it's not outside the realm of possibilities. So it's worth a check. But as far as the Maniologies, at least 90% of the ones I've listed are still available. So I'm hoping that, you know, for those of you who are looking for specific colors, that this was helpful for you, and getting a good look at how they react to different colors by themselves and so on and so forth. So as always, thank you all for watching, and if you liked this video, go ahead and leave a comment and a like. Those help get my videos out into the algorithm. If this is not your first time on my channel and you liked previous videos, feel free to hit the subscribe button. I release videos every Tuesday and Thursday, as long as nothing happens emergency-wise with family or health or anything of those matters. And if you want to help support the channel in other ways, I do have a discount code for Maniology. If you are making an order, feel free to use it to get 10% off of everything that's not MXM plates and MXM boxes. Everything else, their polishes, their regular stamping, their accessories, their regular stamping plates, all of which you can get 10% off using my code. I get a small kickback from your order, and you get a discount. So feel free to use that if you want to help support this channel, because consumable items get pricey quickly. So that helps greatly. And of course, if you have a request, feel free to leave a comment below of what you would like to see Mani-wise, or tutorial for technical stuff. Like, I do have a video planned about how making your own charms with nail silicone molds that are meant for making nail charms. That's one of my planned ones. So, you know, that is something else. If there's, you know, I do swatch comparisons, I do unboxings. If there's a specific brand that you're unsure about, you are welcome to leave me a comment below to ask me about it if I do have it, and I can show you if it's something that is within reason and budget wise. I can look at getting and trying if it's one I have not tried. You know, anything that you guys would like to know, that if I have the knowledge and information, or if it's something that requires funding, if I have the funding to show you guys, then I will. If I don't have the funding right away, of course, I will put that on a list for when I do have the funding to do so. It might not be right away, but it is something that I will put off in a list off to the side. Right now, Moira's on that list because it was recommended in a video. So it was recommended in the comments of one of my videos. So I do keep a list off to the side for when I can afford to purchase those things. I will do so. It may not be right away though, just as a heads up. It has to be able to fit into the budget. You know, life unfortunately tends to suck up a lot of our funds. So we still have plenty of things that we're working on repairing that needs to be repaired, and because life liked to hit us hard this last year. And it seems like every time we finally get something dealt with, something else breaks. It seems to be never ending. So currently, you know, it's a little tighter. We're okay, but it's a little tighter. We're still working on fixing stuff. So as you guys are using my code, everything that I get from my code being used goes directly back into the channel. All of what is earned, which isn't much generally, is put back into the channel. It is buying consumable items that I use all the time, like the paper towels, acetone, cotton balls, Q-tips, sticky stamping stations, things like that. And you know, that's the realm that it goes into. Or if there's a product that you guys want me to try, it's gone towards that. So that is everything I make from that goes directly towards providing you guys content. So I budget out of our own funds that from my husband's work towards that stuff as well, but that takes some of the stress off of the budget whenever you guys use my code. So that is a huge help. For those of you who have been using my code, thank you. For those of you who have been liking and subscribing and commenting and getting my videos out into the algorithm and making sure more people have access to them, that is a huge help as well. Thank you. We are almost at 200 subscribers, or by the time this video releases, we may actually be at 200 subscribers. But at the time of this recording, I am just shy of 200. So, you know, that is a huge help, guys. So I greatly appreciate all of you who have been helping my videos get out into the algorithm, and those of you who have been using my code. That is a huge help. And as always, thank you all for watching, and I hope you all are having a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night, whatever it may be, wherever you are at while you were watching this video. And until next time, guys, bye.